Prayer is man giving God legal right and permission to interfere in earth's affairs. Number two, prayer is man giving heaven earthly license to influence earth. Number three, prayer is a terrestrial license for celestial interference. And then number four, prayer is man exercising his legal authority on earth to invoke heaven's influence on the planet. Hallelujah.
When I heard Dr. Dollar make these statements, I found them quite disturbing, particularly because, for two reasons. Number one, because I heard this teaching before and I thought that people had stopped teaching this, and I was unaware that I was very surprised to find that people were still teaching some of these concepts that Dr. Dollar spoke on. And the other reason I was disturbed was because Dr. Dollar made some authoritative statements, and he did not provide any biblical reference for anything that he stated. He just got up and made four statements, and everybody amened him, and he expected people to just accept what he said just because he said it. And I found that very disturbing. But nevertheless, here's the challenge: is this. I came up with this challenge because I really want Dr. Dollar to answer, make explanation for what he said. And I came up with this challenge in order to get his attention or get someone's attention. I fully am capable of paying the $10,000, and I will pay the $10,000 if he or anyone in his ministry or anyone who supports this ministry can answer the challenge. And the challenge is to provide one single solitary verse of biblical text that specifically states what Dr. Dollar said regarding prayer. These four statements he made, where is that stated in the Bible, what he said? Or if you can't show me where it's exactly stated, at least show me the biblical passages which conclusively show, when we take them all together, that the only reasonable understanding that we can come up with about prayer is what Dr. Dollar said, or it includes what Dr. Dollar said. And he said, of course, that he said that prayer is man giving God legal right and permission to interfere in earth's affairs. He said basically the same thing four times. So that's the challenge. Now, I mentioned that I've heard this teaching before. This teaching comes directly from a man, from one of his mentors. It comes from Kenneth Copeland. Has taught that for years, but it really actually comes from a gentleman by the name of Kenneth Hagin. Kenneth Hagin is dead now, and he's written several books. And as a matter of fact, in this very message, Dr. Dollar actually quoted Kenneth Hagin. As a matter of fact, let's listen.
I shared with you a few, I don't know, months or years back, when I began to talk on this subject. There was a man by the name of John Wesley, and he had this to say. He said, "It seems God is limited by our prayer life, that he can do nothing for humanity unless someone asks him." Now, some people have declared that God is running everything in this world and on this earth, and as I said, he is not. Even ministers say God has everything under control. He's running everything. Well, if he is, he sure has things in a mess. God is not ruling this world. He is not ruling on the earth. Thank God one day he will, and the government will be on his shoulders. But right now, his will is not being carried out on the earth.
Now, the very first part of that clip you just heard, you heard Creflo Dollar supposedly quote a John Wesley, who is a very important figure in Christian history. He's a well-known theologian. Won't get into detail, but he quoted supposedly from John Wesley, and he said that Wesley said that it seems God is limited by our prayer life, that he can do nothing for humanity unless someone asks him, right? He said that John Wesley said that, and obviously he did this to, I guess, to try to convince the people that what he was saying was correct. And it's very interesting that he didn't refer to the Bible in order to make his case. Nevertheless, the point is that John Wesley didn't say that. Creflo Dollar actually quoted this man. He quoted Kenneth Hagin. Now, something that's more, Kenneth Hagin said in a book called The Art of Prayer, which a lot of Christians have this book by Kenneth Hagin called The Art of Prayer. If you turn to page 57 in that book, you will see what Kenneth Hagin makes that very statement. Now, what's more important is that Kenneth Hagin didn't come up with that statement. He stole that. He plagiarized most of his, for people who don't know this, Kenneth Hagin, he plagiarized, which means he stole most of his writings and ideas from a man named E.W. Kenyon. That's this man right here. E.W. Kenyon is the man who originated this statement that Creflo Dollar just quoted, but he attributed it to a theologian named John Wesley. The point is that this just goes to show you it's a sad state of affairs when a minister of the gospel who refers to himself as doctor, who has been preaching as long as that Dr. Dollar has. I think it's just sad. I think it's just a shame that this man is not more prepared, that he's not prepared. He's getting in front of people and he is clearly misinforming people. He doesn't have his facts. He clearly hasn't done his research. It's just sad. And I think it's wrong. So someone who is close to Dr. Dollar needs to correct him. And please explain to him that John Wesley didn't make that statement. And by the way, it took me 5 minutes to find out what John Wesley actually said. If anyone's interested in what he said, I'll put the link to the right of the video so you can look at it for yourself. And I'll also give you the reference where the statement that Kenneth Hagin made. Nevertheless, the challenge is out there, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Dr. Dollar himself or someone from his ministry or anyone who supports him. I doubt that anyone will respond because in my opinion, this teaching is indefensible. Is my position that is found nowhere in the Bible. And the reason I did this video because I want people to pay attention to what they are being taught out there. If you're not a Christian and you're perhaps considering being a Christian or don't pay any attention to Creflo Dollar, Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, or Farrah Price. If you go to one of these churches or your church or your ministry supports these teachings, if you can't answer this challenge, then you should no longer support these churches. You should not attend a church or support a ministry where the pastor can get in the pulpit and teach something that being from God, and he cannot show you in the Bible where he got that from, he or she got that from. So keep your eyes open, use common sense, and remember that the Bible, I'm talking to Christians now, the Bible is the authority and not someone's personal philosophy. Thanks and God bless you. Looking forward to hearing responses from the challenge. Thanks.